So let's talk about Amityville: The Awakening, the Amityville sequel that has been in production for at least 5, 6 years because I think this was announced to be made in 2012. I went and looked it up after I watched this movie because I heard before I saw this that this movie was already kind of in a production hell where like it was going to be released, but then it kept being pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. And you can tell because Bella Thorne in the movie, like she doesn't look that much different now, but you could tell she looks like more of a teenage girl in this movie or a younger adult in this movie. With the 5 or 6 year gap, like you can kind of tell a difference. But this movie is one of those movies, just like Jeepers Creepers 3, which is one I just watched recently and talked about, which is part of another franchise that I am not a huge fan of because the Amityville franchise, I have seen the first two films and that's it. I've seen two out of like 24 of these Amityville movies, including all the spin-offs and blah blah blah. So I haven't really delved into this franchise that much. And the two that I've seen before this I thought were okay or not good. Like the first one was fine, the second one was pretty bad. And this one, I don't know if I'd put this over or under the second one because this one was bad in its execution, but it had some cool ideas. I like the idea of this being a meta sequel. And that's why I watched this without watching all the other films because I thought, even though the other films are loosely connected or just the house is part of it, there's not really any story threads that are connected to any of the other films. I wanted to watch them all in order, but this one I thought I could watch it without seeing the other ones because this one is a meta film where it is outside of the Amityville film universe because in this movie they literally have like this kid in the movie, this friend of Bella Thorne's in the new school she's at. He has the DVDs of the original Amityville Horror and the second one and the remake with Ryan Reynolds. And I think that's so funny that we have it in this, like it is an Amityville movie, but it's not in the universe with the other films, which people could say is stupid too, but I think that is kind of a cool idea. But they don't go anywhere with that. It's just literally the same kind of Amityville thing where it's the house is doing creepy demonic things, people are getting possessed, or people are being influenced by the evil force in the house. And it doesn't feel any different than the other two that I've seen in terms of it being out of continuity. I mean, it's fine, it is out of continuity. I think that is a cool idea, but it doesn't seem like it takes much liberty with that. It doesn't seem like you need to make it that much of a difference in terms of being different than the actual continuity of the other films. Which I hear with all the other sequels is loose anyways, but I just think that's an interesting idea, but they didn't do much with it. And that's pretty much what I can say about this movie is that it has interesting ideas, but it never goes full great with them. The movie itself, the execution is not good. Like I think Bella Thorne in this movie isn't that great. Like her acting isn't that good in this movie, and Jennifer Jason Leigh is fine, but it's like she just has nothing to work with in terms of the script, and the movie itself has a lot of cheap jump scares that are this decade's type of jump scares and like pre 2010 jump scares. It is something that is to me really cheap. Jump scares can be cheap unless you can do them in a smart way, but it's not always usually ever the case. There are some exceptions with great movies that have come out in the past couple of years that have great jump scares, but usually they're cheap. And this one fell into that category because there were a lot of moments where it'd just be like, you know it's coming, you know this is right when the jump scare's gonna happen, and it does. It's pretty cliched in that factor, but that's what I mean by it was executed poorly because it gives in all these dumb jump scares, but it has interesting ideas, but the ideas are never fully utilized. Like I like the idea too of the house having an effect and a possession on this kid who is Bellthorn's brother, who has, I don't know what the exact definition of it is. He's got that got the disease where he's kind of just comatose, and he's got like his legs and feet are curled in a, and I don't know the exact name of the thing he has, but whenever he's in this house, he becomes possessed and becomes normal. And I think that was kind of a cool idea too, to make him have this deficiency, but he can become a normal person because of the possession. I thought that was cool. And I like the idea that Jennifer Jason Leigh's character was just, in a way, a dick character, because she wants her son, like, this is a good thing about her, she wants her son to be normal and live again, because he's basically just a vegetable, because he has no function like to him. And whenever she takes him to the Amityville house, he becomes normal because of the house having a possession effect on him. But it makes her a dick too, because she brings her family into the Amityville house, where there was the story about the first one where all this shit went down in this house, and she brings him here and the family there for selfish reasons. Because Bella Thorne's character actually did make a good point, saying to the mother, because they have the argument about the brother, about he is basically dead. He is just a vegetable. He was just sitting there. He has nothing he can do. There's nothing we can do to help him. And of course, a mother is going to try her hardest to save her family, but in the process, she shits on the other two girls, and has, just to save the boy. And then it's the downfall of that, because of course you're in the Amityville house, you know what's going to happen. They established a lot in this movie what happened in the first one and in the real events. So I think that that's just weird in a way. It's just the writing too, I guess. It just made her seem like she was just kind of a bitch. And I just didn't like how they made it seem like she was just being so selfish to get the one son that she doesn't want to die, but is basically gone, and sacrifices everything, to bring her daughters with her, with the danger of being in the Amityville house. I think that it's weird because it's just not written very well, so it makes her seem very off-putting. And I didn't like her character, but I like Jennifer Jason Leigh's a good actress, but it's just she didn't have anything to really work with the script. And I think that it's just, like I said, the execution in it is just not very well done. And I also wanted to point out that Bella Thorne's character, I think, was just pretty, like, she was just pretty bland. She just didn't really have much to go on either. So I feel like it was just really not, like, the actors involved, like, I don't think I should blame them on the acting. And I haven't seen Bella Thorne in many things, but I know she's been in other things, so I shouldn't blame her on this. And also, this could have been one of her first movies, or first big movies, because this technically is going to be out in 2012. It's been in development hell for a long time, but I wanted to point out, too, that it's dumb how short these characters' names are, in which Bella Thorne's character is named Belle, and then Jennifer Jason Leigh's character is named Joan. And I just think it's funny that those two names are so close to their actual names. Like, I know that might not have been the intent, but I was just like, that's pretty dumb that her name is just Belle and Joan. Like, they're just kind of shortened versions of their names, in a way. It just sounds so similar to their names. It's just kind of weird. That was just one little thing I wanted to point out, but yeah, the movie on its own is just, like, it's its own thing. It's a meta sequel, is what it says online. Like, that's the definition. This movie is a meta sequel, where it is out of continuity with the other films and shows the actual films in this new universe. Like, it establishes that these films are not canon and part of this, like you see the DVDs, and you know that they actually can go see those movies in the actual film, and they watch the first Amityville film in the movie, so it's odd. But it's something I thought was kind of an interesting thing, and like I said, the ideas like that, like being a meta film in the case of the universe, and also I thought it was interesting with how the possession of the boy, how he becomes normal whenever he is possessed. I thought that was a cool idea, but I think that the execution and the dumb jump scares to me make it really lackluster, and the acting isn't that great. But that's because what do these people have to work with? This pretty bad writing. I didn't understand why a lot of this stuff happened, especially with Jennifer Jason Leigh's character. Like, it just made her seem very off-putting and not very nice and selfish for this one thing. It just didn't really explain well why they are doing this in the movie. But the movie itself, I just thought, as a like with the franchise, I've only seen two of them, so I don't feel like this is one that I will be one. Like, it's not one that I already loved anyways. But it's just one of those sequels again this year. Like, this year has been a year of horror sequels that I really did not like, and they have all been direct to video or VOD, like Jeepers Creepers 3 or Leatherface or Amityville: The Awakening. They've all been sequels to franchises that I don't really appreciate. Besides Cold of Chucky I absolutely love because I'm such a fan of that franchise. But these films I just mentioned before are not any franchises I love. I might like the first one, but then after that I don't love any other ones. So I'm the wrong person to be talking about this, but I think that it the sequel itself, this movie, Amityville: The Awakening, had cool ideas, but the execution and scares and acting were lackluster because of just bad writing or because of studio notes being, you've got to have dumb jump scares in this. This is the 2010s. We've got to have dumb jump scares. That's just how it works now. We got to be shitty about it. But overall, Amityville: The Awakening was just really just another unwarranted sequel that, to me, I'm not a fan of the franchise anyways, so I wouldn't recommend it.